Tape Deck Media.
Good morning, Ruddle Maniacs. Welcome back to another episode of Ruddle Me This. I am, as always, your host, Taylor Hostin Powers Ruddle. I've got an absolute cracker of a guest for you this week. I am over the moon at this get for the podcast. This week we have got Liv McKenzie joining us. If you're any kind of fan of comedy in New Zealand, you probably are already aware of Liv McKenzie, so you know how big of a deal this is for me. If you're not aware of Liv McKenzie already, you've probably been living under a rock for the past few years, and I'll give you some information. So Liv is a 2024 Billy T Award nominee. The Billy T, for any overseas listeners, is kind of our biggest comedy award here in New Zealand, so the fact that Liv was nominated is a massive deal. Liv has also been seen on TV shows such as Have You Been Paying Attention, 7 Days, and she's even got her own TV show called Cubicle Confessions on TVNZ+. There'll be a link to that in the show notes for you to go and check out. So Liv was kind enough to join me on the show today, and we did a session of Tiny Joys where Liv brought her 5 Tiny Joys. As always, these Tiny Joys lead in interesting... they lead us to interesting areas. We talked about the smutty, fairy, sort of horny romance books that are very popular with the ladies at the moment. Maybe fellas too, I'm not too sure. I have never read them myself. We talked about video games, went back for a little nostalgia trip to some of the ones we played growing up. Main one that Liv was into was MarioKart. And then there was just a lot of chat. Liv and I were sort of like ships in the night. We went to the same high school and knew quite a few of the same people throughout life. So, yeah, very cool to learn that, somebody who's doing really well is sort of from the same, same roots as me. So, very cool. A couple of very quick plugs before we get into the interview tonight. If you're listening to this on Monday when it drops at 7 o'clock at Galaxy Bar in Christchurch, there is the first ever edition of a comedy show run by my co-mayor of Hosstown, Matt Lilly. I believe I am the last act up on that, so get yourself down there and have a wee giggle. Tuesday and Wednesday nights are the classic quiz nights for me. Tuesday night is on at Archie Brothers. That is the EntX or Holy Moly Centre. You probably know that better as those. And then Wednesday, good old Moi Moi. Great wee room to do a quiz in. Thursday nights, as always, the Laugh Cellar. The Laugh Cellar is also on Tuesday nights, run by Henry Hickman. So turn up 7 o'clock Tuesday or Thursday. And then, of course, the first Friday of the month, we've got Beats by Bingo at Winniebago's Rangiora from 8 o'clock. That's going to be a lot of fun. Free to play. I'd love to see you there. That's all the plugs for the week. Thank you for tuning in once again. Let's get straight to the interview. Please welcome to the show, Liv McKenzie. Good morning, Liv. Welcome to the podcast.
Good morning, Taylor. Thank you for having me.
It's honestly the pleasure is all mine. I think you might be the biggest guest that I've gotten so far, so this is a good day for the Ruddle Me This. The Ruddle Me This listeners.
Huge for me.
Yeah. How are things going for you?
Yeah, good. Just chilling. Really, just like decompressing post Comedy Fest season.
I was going to say you posted your gala set, I think, to Instagram. Was that the gala that I'm thinking of?
Oh, that was from Last Laughs.
Ah, right.
Which
that's
is,
the end
what
of the
they
festival?
do at the end. Yeah, so that's what they do. If you are like Billy T or Fred nominated, then you have to do Last Laughs. Which is at Sky City. Yeah, you have to. That's how they, because that's when they announce the winners.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so you kind of, if you want to maybe win, you kind of have to. But it's usually my favorite day of the year because it's usually they do like an open bar beforehand and like give out all the kind of little awards or like, best newcomer, stuff like that. So you get to go watch those awards, get really drunk, and then go to Last Laughs and just like judge everyone performing and there's no stakes in it. And then when you're performing on it, you're like, this is the worst day of my entire life. Like I was so stressed the whole day.
The difference between being in the audience versus being in the gala is quite a big difference.
Yeah, because you're like, if you're performing in it, you have to get there at like 1 p.m. It's also like filmed for TV, so it's really stressful to be like, what is going to make it, how they're going to cut my setup. And then also they like do your hair and makeup, which is really nice. But also I think the more stressed I am about a set, the more pedantic I am about my appearance. I think it's just because like it's the only thing I can control, and I'm quite good at doing my like makeup. I'm not good at my hair, but so when someone else is doing my makeup and it's like not quite right, like if it was me doing it, I'd be like, whatever, it's fine. But if someone else is doing it, I'm like, that's not how I would do it, and they can do it like they're like professional makeup artists and they do an amazing job, because it's a little different than what I'm used to, and I'm already like very on edge. Then I will like have a bit of a meltdown about it. One time I was getting my nails done for the gala, and I was wearing a pink dress and I was getting my nails done to match. And my nail artist, Tanya, who's like the love of my life, I cried because my nails weren't pink enough, and they were like hot pink, like they were like Barbie pink. And I was crying because I was worried they weren't going to be quite pink enough. And Tiny was like, what the fuck? Like she was really nice. She was like giving me a hug and stuff. But I was just, when you're so stressed about like everything, like a million little things, that it's just the nails will tip you over the edge.
The little one that sets you off. And maybe it's not the worst thing. It's just the straw that broke the camel's back, isn't it?
It truly is, yeah. And then you just feel dumb. And then you also get mocked about it for the rest of your life, but it's kind of fair.
They never let you live it down. Have you, because that's quite a big theatre, is that sort of thing still a big deal for you, or are you kind of used to playing bigger theatres now?
It's still cool, it's cool when you go out there, because Sky City's about 800. I think I wasn't really nervous about the amount of people. It was more just the performance itself on that day. I think I've done a couple galas. I opened for Jim Jeffries at at Spark Arena in 2022, and that was about 4,000 people.
Wow.
And I think when it's that many people, you're like, oh, I cannot fathom this amount of people. Like you almost feel like you're in like a movie when they've like CGI'd the crowd, because it's just so many people. Like that's how it feels. It doesn't feel real. But with Last Laughs, I guess it's a little different because it's 800, which obviously is still pretty big, but you can also, all the comedians who aren't on the show are watching, so you can hear your friends' individual laughs in the crowd. So that's actually quite nice to be like,
awesome.
Okay, got that person,
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Very good.
So it's still, kind of scary, but I don't know. I'm more just like, let's just get this done. I don't
you
care
get used to it, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you got you did I think it was the Melbourne Comedy Festival this year? Is that what you did? You had quite a cool poster for that. What was it called? I Can't Believe I Shaved for This.
Oh yeah. It was me and Becky Umbers, lovely Becky Umbers. We were just doing a little 35-seater in the Women's Centre, the Queen Victoria Women's Centre in Melbourne. Yeah, and so that was so fun. Sorry, I'm just like moving around. That was really fun, and I really liked our poster, and we got lots of like compliments on it. And I think if you have like kind of strong marketing for something like that, it's really hard to stand out, so you kind of have to have something a little that hopefully will like grab people's attention. I definitely, the poster still sticks in my mind because it's a look that I think it's very Ed Fringe. It's the coloured backdrop and then just a good quality photo and then nice sort of logo. You had the sort of the logo was kind of being shaved, I think, is the logo. It was so good. James Roque did that. Shout out. He did my fest poster too. He does everyone's posters. He's amazing.
He's a very talented man, yes.
And an amazing comedian too. I don't know how he is.
I follow him on TikTok, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And so we should get into some of your tiny jokes. Oh, I did have one last question. I was going to say, many Kiwi comics are sort of making the jump to Australia. Is that something you've got in your crosshairs, or are you pretty happy being in New Zealand?
I do. I love New Zealand. I'm very happy in Auckland. I'm very settled, but I would say there's probably more opportunities in Australia, just because I've had a few friends who've moved over in the last few years and their careers have like skyrocketed. And it's crazy that how popular they are in Australia doesn't quite translate to New Zealand, but also New Zealand is a lot smaller, so it's probably just harder to match that level of, population. But I definitely am considering it next year. I think maybe, because I think if you go over to do like Melbourne or something, it's kind of good to then you may as well just take all your shit with you and move.
Just stay
in one go. Yeah. So I'm definitely thinking about it, but I do there's also just, like the project got cancelled. Have you been paying attention's been cancelled. Like 7 days is still on, but like, knock on wood, but who's to
Well, they
say?
keep
Because
they
it's been
keep
going for
trying to get rid of that every year, don't they?
and then it's a
Yeah.
cockroach, won't die, which and I love it. I say that with love.
Unkillable, yeah, I
Um,
love it.
yeah,
I was gonna say, I feel like we're sort of always we've sort of got two paths as New Zealand comics. Is like I'm really much more in the like I want to stay here and like build it up as much as I can, but then you do
yeah,
see how well people do moving overseas, and you go, that looks pretty nice too.
yeah, and just to be able to like make a living off it, like a good living, which
Yeah,
some of my friends, some of my
I
very lucky friends are doing.
I like how you qualified that because yeah, there is a difference between like full-time creative and then like sort
Yeah.
of not just treading or not drowning
No, yeah,
full-time
just
creative.
drowning. I feel like that all the time. And that's like, I have a day job again, which I didn't have to have for a couple years, but I think we had it so good. And well, obviously COVID's not good. So I'll qualify that, but we had it really good in COVID just because the borders were closed. So no one was allowed to leave. So they had to come to comedy shows. And the cost of living kind of hadn't quite hit yet.
No.
And the previous government was very good with like the grants and like the like small business and sole trader grants. So like in that big 2021 lockdown, I was like the most financially stable I've ever been in my life. Like I was making bank of these things, and I had absolutely zero mental health. Like I was so cooked, but I had so much, I was like sending people flowers all the time for like no reason. Like I was like,
Wow.
because I was just like, what's something to do? Like this person just had a baby. Here's some flowers. Like she didn't get flowers for the first one, but here's some flowers now because I've got some
Yeah.
more money. Like so, no one has gotten flowers since. Sorry,
That's a
girlies.
real
Sorry to all
baller
my high
move
school
sending
friends.
flowers, eh?
It feels so good to send flowers. It does feel really good to receive them too. I think the more
Uh,
flowers you send, the more flowers you probably get back. But
True. That's wisdom there. Okay, let's
yeah.
get onto your list. So what was your first tiny joy you've got for us today?
Okay. Oh, petting dogs on the street.
Ah, is this one just ones that you
I
come across or like ones that are owned by
yeah.
people?
Ones, yeah, just stray dogs on the street. No, this is ones, if I see a good dog, like I will cross the street to pet a good dog.
Wow.
Like if I see a dog, and I'm basic, but I love a golden retriever. Like I just
Mm,
like, they're so sweet. They love to be pet, and they're like, I have a golden retriever. And but she's like with my parents. Um, she's actually living with my parents' friends in Takofita, which is like an hour south of Auckland because my parents
wow.
have like moved away for a year. So
Uh-huh.
I will drive just to go pet my dog for a while and like go. And she's like living with my like auntie and uncle, and I'm like, I'm just here to see the dog.
I love the lore of like the family pet, but then when you move away and you get like a flat
Yeah,
pet or whatever, they're like your sort of new they're sort of your new ones. But then you go back to your parents' house and you see the sort of, the one you grew up with. I like that. Yeah,
my
yeah,
baby.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like I've got a cat.
she's actually. Oh, sorry. You tell me. You
I was
keep
just gonna
going.
say I have a cat that still lives with my parents, and he's not really my cat anymore, but he's like sort of the family pet.
He's your
Yeah.
cat.
What were you
Yeah.
gonna say? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, so my childhood pet's no longer with us, unfortunately, but
Mm.
this dog, Evie, is a pet that I kind of gaslit my parents into getting in lockdown, in the very first lockdown, because I went back to Christchurch. My whole family was there. Our family friend had a dog had puppies. And so we convinced the dad to like let us have the dog over for a sleepover, and then the dog never left. And he was like, for like a year, he's like, we're giving the dog back. And then he like called the lady after like 18 months to be like, yeah, we're going to keep the dog. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you've had this dog for almost 2 years. And
It's just your dog now.
she's just, and also my dad loves her so much. Like one time I was like when we first had her and she was a puppy, my dad came into my room, but not to say goodnight to me. He goes up to the dog and he's like, no night darling, love you, kissing the dog, and then walks out without saying anything to me. I was like, okay, I'll just go fuck myself, that's fine, thanks dad.
Just like see a
um
G and then shuts the door.
yeah, I was like, cool, thanks man.
Well, they always say there's no purer love between the grumpy dad and the pet he says he didn't want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he loves that dog so much. Like I think so my parents moved to Portugal for a year for my mum got a job, and
Wow.
I think my dad, like the main reasons my dad didn't want to leave was the grandkids and the dog, and that was it. No, nothing for me, my sister, not my brother and his wife. who have the kids. It's just the kid. Like my dad will like cry on FaceTime because he misses the kids so much. It's so cute. They are really cute. So I get it. But
Is that your brother's children?
yeah, do you know my brother? Do you know
Yes,
Elliot?
Elliot. We did mini shows together probably back in 2018, I think, roundabout.
Oh damn. Yeah, because that's when I moved overseas.
Yes, that's right. We didn't even get into your sort of international kind of part of your career. Maybe that we'll save that for another podcast.
Yeah.
But yes, no. Has he got multiple children now?
He's got two little babies. He's got a 2-year-old called, and then my little niece who's about to be 1 like next week. And it's like my brother makes him watch like Auntie Donna and I Think You Should Leave. And I'm like, stop. I'm like, this poor boy never has a chance. He's gonna be like a comedian. And then my little
Wow.
niece really, she's like 1, but she's just they say she's just like me and my sister, and they sent us a video of her the other day, just her kissing herself in the mirror. I was like, oh yeah, that's me.
That's good confidence. That's great.
Yeah.
It's wild when people that you knew when they were sort of, because I feel like he was just out of uni or something, or that kind of age when I knew him.
Yeah.
And yeah, family members that were much younger than me have got kids now, and yeah, I don't like to think about it. Time moves too
No,
quickly,
when your
doesn't
little
it?
brother has like 2 babies and like a beautiful house and a beautiful wife, you're like, okay, I've achieved nothing. I've done nothing.
That's the worst when, especially when they're younger than you. Like that's the
Yeah.
that's the worst.
But then I think it's good too, because then it takes the pressure off your parents being like, when are you gonna have kids? When are you do like they don't care. They've got 2
True.
beautiful grandkids. They're like, they don't give a shit what I'm up to.
He's
To be
really
honest. They're like, whatever.
he's taking one for the team there.
Yeah.
I love it. So, what was your next tiny joy there?
Okay. What is that? Oh, reading my book on the bus. I just
Oh,
love, I get the bus because I work at, I won't say, I'm not going to dox myself.
yeah, that would be
I,
not that would not be a good idea.
it seems crazy. But I also kind of do love having a day job because like they think I'm so famous and I'm like, honeys, if I was famous, I would not be working here. Like, I'm so sorry to tell you. But they're so, and I like, I don't know, I think it's very healthy to have something that's not, comedy related, like to have a job that's like completely separate from comedy and something that like I really enjoy, but like it doesn't impact me. You know, it's
Mhm.
easy for me to walk away at the end of the day
You
without
can
taking it all home.
leave it at work kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so, but yeah, I love getting on the bus in the morning, and and it's like I get on one of the double decker ones, and I feel like the queen, and I'm like reading my book, and it's just, I think it's just nice to like, because I drive myself everywhere, and like and a lot of my friends don't drive, so I'm always the one picking people up, dropping people off, and so it's really nice to just be driven around by Auckland Transport, reading my book. I love it.
You feel like you're on Bridgerton or something, right?
I do, yeah. I'm like, I'm the queen in a carriage, and they're
I
like,
love it.
you're literally. I was going to dox my bus line. I need to stop doxing myself. Like, if you see me on the
You
bus,
don't,
come hang out with me.
you don't want to make it too easy for the for the
Yeah, to get
stalkers
stalked.
out there. I was going to ask you I I think that is any comedians. I suspect there's a lot of comedians that listen to this podcast, but I would absolutely recommend. It's like you say, having a day job that's unrelated, or in my case, it's I have
Mm.
a group of friends who do not care that I'm in stand up and
Yeah,
will, you know, verbally pummel me at any given opportunity.
yeah.
So anything to keep you humble, essentially, I think is the
Oh, yeah.
you need like
I think,
an anchor or something to keep you
yeah, got to
relatable,
be
I suppose.
grounded.
Yes, grounded. That's a great way to
Yeah,
put it. Yeah.
it's
Um,
so important to be grounded because I think there's so many comedians. I won't name names, but they know who they are. Will get like a little bit of fame or a little bit of, yeah, people start to recognize them, like, and they just look, you lose all perspective and you're like, I am a
mm,
god. And it's like, no, I I keep trying to like, so I'm like, how can I make a joke without accidentally, being mean to one of my friends? But, or for myself, it's like, no, you're from Christchurch. You went to Riccarton High School, get a grip, you know,
did you really
like,
good? That's right. I think we had this
yeah,
chat when I saw you up in Auckland because I went to Riccarton for two
yeah.
years as well. Um,
Oh, wait, maybe we didn't. When were you there?
I was there. Um, oh, I can't remember the years. I was there in year 9 and 10, which I'm now struggling to remember. Was it what am I, 32 now? How old are you in year 9? That's 15,
14.
14,
Oh, so you're like 2 years older than me. Are you turning 33 this year, or did you just turn
32 this
32?
year. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Do you know, I was about to dox my ex-boyfriend. Do you know,
I do. I went to primary school with him.
That's my ex-boy. That's my high school
Did you two go
boyfriend.
out? Wow.
Yeah, for like 3 years. He ruined
He
my life. Um,
I was not a
nah, he's all
popular
good.
I was not a popular kid, and for one of the sort of jockier, I might bleep his name just in case, but um he was always one of the very kind jockier, sportier guys. So
That's really sweet.
yeah, I have good memories of him. We'll get back to the bus. I was going to ask you what kind of novels do you read on the bus?
So I was reading those like, do you know about those like fairy porn books?
Oh, is that a Court of Thorn and some Akatar
Yes,
is the
A
thing?
Court of Thorns and Roses, Akatar. Yeah, so I've read all those books by I think her name's Sarah J. Maas.
Uh-huh.
I read those books, and then I read the Throne of Glass series, and then I read the Crescent City, which is like the third series, and so I was reading all those. And but those, yeah, some they're actually not. I think they're not as dirty as I thought they were going to be, but I think the first probably real dirty book I ever read was like 50 Shades of Grey, which is
Right,
like
right.
I it's just the word. Those books suck so hard because they're like I feel like the plot is like nonsensical, and then the sex scenes are kind of insane. So when you're
Mm.
reading the plot, you're like, oh my god, wrap it up, just have sex again. And then when they're having sex, you're like, this is boring now. Just go back to the plot, and then the plot's so. But so they're not as dirty as you think. But then if you are reading them when you're like the bus isn't so bad, but like at work, like on your
Hmm.
break, you're reading, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to close this. I don't feel comfortable reading this at
Save
work.
this for after work.
Yeah, yeah. And then I'm
The
reading Reese Nicholson's book at the moment, which is amazing.
Oh,
And I think I
cool.
might just listen to the audiobook after because I love their voice so much.
Awesome. I was gonna say with the this Akatar, what is the full title of it? Sorry, A Court of
Oh, A Court of Thorns and Roses is the
they
very first one.
this sort of like you said, fairy smutty kind of book genre has
Hmm.
really sort of taken on, or is it more like they've always been around, but they've just sort of been
Yeah,
mainstream now? Like is I'm I'm just struggling to wrap my is it a bit like Twilight that it's sort of it's
yeah,
a
big Twilight vibes.
supernatural kind of main character meets a fairy and they have sort of
Yeah,
steamy.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of it. So she's like so the first book is like her family live in like poverty, and like her mom's dead. It's just her dad and her two sisters who are kind of useless. And the girl, what's her name? Fire or Faya? I
Yeah.
can't remember. I read it so long ago and I smashed through them. I can't tell any of the characters apart anymore. But she is like, goes out hunting to like to kill rabbits and stuff to feed her family.
Hmm.
And she kills I always do this with like a gun fingers, but it's not gun fingers, it's a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
She kills a wolf that turns out to have been like a fairy in disguise. So like fairies are like the fae or the fairies can be like kind of anything. Like it's not just like it's not like Tinkerbell. It's
Mm.
like although some of them do have wings, but some of them are more like vampire-y. Some of
Mm.
them are like werewolfy. A fairy can be like a weird monster, fucked up monster looking thing.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of anything vaguely supernatural, I guess. And then
Wow.
the fairy comes. Sorry, spoilers, but the fairy, the like Lord Fairy or whatever, comes into the human kingdom because it's like a big wall. He comes in and he's like, "You killed my friend. You have two choices. I kill you right now, or you have to come and like to pay your life debt. You have to come and live with me in the fairy kingdom forever." And she obviously is like, well, I may as well do that for a bit.
Mm.
So then it kind of grows out from there. But it's like, yeah, it's just I feel like the plot is really good, which
Hmm.
I so like this because this Throne of Glass series isn't as dirty. But the plot is so good that I like didn't care. But
Mm.
I think they've just gone so mainstream because of like TikTok and stuff.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and all the
Oh,
girlies want some romance.
well, that's they always do say that ladies are just as sort of degenerate as fellas, and I
Oh,
think
big
it's
time. They're
it's
worse.
just it's just
Yeah, I
about
think.
the perhaps the what is it the form of the media that they
Yeah,
like
definitely.
to consume. Oh, well, that's great. And is that all you read, or have you got any other kind of like obviously you do autobiographical sort of stuff? Is there anything else that you're
Yeah.
into?
What do I think I've realized with these ones, I've realized how much I just love fantasy. Because like as a
Mm.
kid, I like obviously loved Harry Potter. I loved these what are they called? I can't remember the name. It was like this book about a girl who was like wanted to be a knight and like a squire and stuff. So like
Oh,
and then
yeah, yeah,
obviously
yeah.
couldn't. Yeah, those ones. I think the original series was like Alana the Lioness, but I didn't read those. I
Cool.
read
Yeah,
the other
no, I
ones,
I
and
read
then
plenty of those as a child as well. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I think I tried to read Lord of the Rings, could never get through it.
it's a
Like, would
hard
always get
read.
up to like
Yeah,
Tom Bombadil and be like, I'm out. This is
that is a real
crazy.
off the walls part. Yeah.
It's so bit, yeah. But I read The Hobbit. Yeah, so I think I yeah, you know what I realized too when I was reading these like fairy books, which are
Mhm.
all in like, kind of like medieval-ish times,
Yeah, yeah.
that I just love it because there's no phones, there's no emails, and I worked in a call center, so I'm just like, I do not, if I hear a phone ringing, I'm like so triggered. If I just hear a phone ring, I'm like, ugh,
Yeah.
like, so I just like, in this, no one's calling him, no one's texting him, no one's emailing him. So it's like, it's really nice to like be reading a book and then fully disconnected from like almost the modern world through this
Yeah.
book. Um,
I
but
feel
yeah, I
that.
just like I love a comedy biography or a comedian's book. Like yeah, Reese Nicholson's one, so funny, and it's kind of like a cookbook. Like they have like little, but obviously
Awesome.
the recipes are funny too.
Yeah.
And then like I love like Tina Fey's book and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, I'm trying to think
Awesome.
of what else I've got
No,
going on
you've
here.
given a you've given a good selection there. I think the listeners
Yeah, just
get a
I
feel
just
for what
like
you're into.
books.
Awesome. So what was your next tiny joy on the list there?
Okay. Um, so at the moment I'm just loving watching movies with my flatmates, like in TV. So at the moment we're watching all the extended versions of Lord of the Rings.
Hell yeah.
Um, yeah, and so one of our flatmates, he's really into Lord of the Rings, so he like the whole time we're like, is this extended or is this regular? Because we're like, I don't remember this. And
Hmm.
I do really like Lord of the Rings. Like I auditioned for Lord of the Rings as a child.
Did you? Which
Um,
character were you going for?
yeah, I think I was going to be one of the little kids on the horse in the Two Towers, like one of Robin Malcolm's kids.
Is that
The,
when they had that fight with
those
all
kids,
the wargs?
I think so. And like, and Robin Malcolm's like crying, putting her kids, because I think the orcs are
Yes.
coming to their village and they get sent away. So I think I was
Wow.
supposed to be one of those kids, but then I couldn't cry on cue. You had to cry on cue, and I couldn't.
Oh,
Yeah, so
damn.
I didn't get that. And I think they just end up using one of Peter Jackson's kids anyway,
Right,
or
right.
Robin Malcolm's kids or something. So Nepo baby.
I know, right?
Yeah, but I think just because with Comedy Fest, I've been like so stressed, and then I was also like working full time in the lead up, and all I could do was like think about my show, but too like paralyzed and stressed to actually work on my show. So when I'd come home from work, I would just like be like, I need to be in my room by myself, decompressing, you know?
Hmm.
And now I'm like, I don't have that kind of Comedy Fest anxiety cloud hanging over me. So now I can just like, I'm like, what are we gonna watch tonight? Yeah, last night we watched House of Dragon. We still have like 90% of Return of the King to go. So yeah, that's why I'm really loving just hanging out with my
I
ladies at the moment.
I think that does connect nicely into the sort of idea of unplugging from everything.
Mm.
Like I went and saw a Studio Ghibli movie with a friend.
Oh, cool.
They did like a cinema, the cinema re-release of it or something.
Mm.
And I remember getting out of the theater and thinking like, man, that was nice not to have to be connected to my phone at all. Like I think
Yeah.
that could be a resurgence for sort of our generation and beyond of like
Yeah.
a good way to stay disconnected is to go to the cinema or like you say, even just watching a movie with your flatmates, you want to be present with
Yeah.
them. Um, and yeah, no, I just think that's very healthy.
What
So
movie was that?
it was, if I think it was Spirited Away. That would be the one that
Oh
they
yeah,
did. It
great.
was like on the actually, I don't know if my bag is around here, but I got a pin. I don't know if it's within arm's reach, but I got a pin of the character No Face from it. It was like
Oh yeah.
they just gave them out to you when you were leaving the cinema. So yeah, that was a cool moment. And just when they bring back old movies in the cinema, I don't know, there's just something different about seeing a movie on that
Yeah.
screen. And laptop is nice, but certainly an
Yeah, it's nice to
experience.
like be communal and like gather around a big ass screen and watch a movie. I also feel like when I'm on the plane and if I don't like when a plane has Wi-Fi. I'm like,
Yes.
no, I do not want to be. The plane is the only time you get to not be on your phone, and I'm still like, but I still will pick it up, try go on like Twitter and be like, oh, okay. But that's good, I think. So like even though I'm like just watching a different screen or I'm like, but I just don't have to worry about like messaging people or like being in contact for a couple hours, and like even if it has Wi-Fi, just pretend it doesn't, because I'm like, I don't want to be contactable for 2 hours, or or 3 hours, or however, how long your flight
It
is.
it is great when you have a good excuse to not have to respond to messages, like the classic, like,
Yeah,
sorry, I was in the cinema living my life
yeah.
and I couldn't see your message. What is your next tiny joy there?
What is my next tiny joy? Okay, my next tiny joy is playing Mario Kart with new people and then just like decimating them, because I'm very good at Mario Kart. And I think when people, I'm like, yeah, I'm like okay at it. And then I'll just be like, and like, I'll just win every single game. And
Yeah.
everyone's like, what the fuck is happening? And I'm like, this is my first time playing. Is this good? Am I doing good? I'm
Are you
not.
like
I played like 300 hours on it.
are you like a pool hall hustler where you let them think they're going to beat you, and then
I would be.
as soon as
Yeah.
there's money on the table, you just destroy them?
I kind of, yeah, if I could do that with Mario Kart, I would.
You'd never have
I
to
think
work
there's
again.
yeah, oh, that would be the dream. But then I just will, if I'm very good in like with people who have like played casually, or, like, and then I'll go online and play and just get like rinsed by Japanese toddlers, just absolutely fucking smashed. And
Who
it's
is
embarrassing.
who is your character that you like to play as in it?
I do Rose Gold, Princess Peach. Um, but I also do Roy. I don't know if you know Roy.
He's one
He's
of the
like a big
Koopalings, isn't he?
He's one of the Koopalings. He's a big ass turtle. He's got sick little glasses. He's a microphone. I actually have a plushie of him somewhere that I got
Awesome.
from the Nintendo store in New York. He's like, I love Roy, but I think Princess Peach is maybe a little lighter. She's like the one level down.
Yeah.
So I've switched to her, but I love Roy.
Oh, that's great. I was going to say as well, is there anything about Mario Kart in particular that, like, what is it about Mario Kart specifically that speaks to you?
So I was never very good at driving games, and like I was never allowed to have like a PlayStation or anything growing up because my mum hated me and didn't want me to have a good life. And no, she was just like, you already watch too much TV and we don't even have Sky. You're not getting a console. I was like, Mum, please. Um, and so I think I tricked my granddad into buying me a Game Boy Color out of the buy sell and exchange,
Wow.
and so that all I had was like Pokemon games, which I
Yeah.
love. But yeah, I was never a good like proper gamer. And when I moved to Auckland, a lot of my friends had Switches, and we would play Mario Kart, and I was like, this game is really fun, bright
Yeah.
colors, beautiful. It's ADHD, I think, that's speaking to me. And then when we went into that second lockdown that only ended up being 2 weeks, that like Jacinda announced at like 9 p.m. on a Wednesday, I was just like, I'm not doing this again, and made my friend take me to the warehouse, and I ran and I was like, I need a Nintendo Switch, and just bought Mario Kart, bought a Switch, and then basically just got high for 2 weeks and would play Mario Kart for like 6 hours a day. I like terrible, I couldn't move my thumbs, like such bad RSI. And then everyone was like we would all play online then in the lockdown, and my friends were like, have you been watching videos or something? Like, have you been cheating? Like, and I was like, no, I've just been playing so much that I just got crazy good in like a few days. I just got amazing.
You were like in a kung fu movie when they go into the wilderness in a little cabin
that was
to train for 2 weeks, then you come back.
Yeah, that was me.
You're just monstrously
Except
good.
just stoned out of my mind on the couch playing Mario Kart. So it wouldn't have been a good montage, because they would have been like, in the montage they'll switch from them like, yeah, they're like fighting a tree and then they're climbing up some stairs with like buckets of water. Like it would just be me playing Mario Kart in the couch, and then me playing Mario Kart in bed, and then me back on the couch, and then me on another couch, and I'm just doing the same thing for
That sounds like a
2
great
weeks straight.
montage to me.
Yeah.
I was going to say as well, did you ever get into the Crash Bandicoot racing games back in the day? Or if you never had a PlayStation, I guess you wouldn't have, but yeah.
I had like friends who had PlayStation, so like my poor because like growing up, like none of my girlfriends wanted to play Mario Kart, and wanted to play video games, but if their older brothers had a console, I'd go over to their house and then just make them watch me play
Nice.
games. So like my cousin had Crash, just regular Crash, so I'd play that with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely played a bit of Crash Team Racing, but like, and it definitely, you can kind of switch, but like I'm quite good at that now just because I'm good at the mechanics of like a little racing game like that because of Mario Kart.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried to play one, some friends or whatever for some drinks, and then they got me playing. I haven't played since I was a little kid, but the thing with Crash Team Racing is you've got to hit the trigger button to slide. I think that's the big key.
Yeah, like the
And
drifting and
my
stuff.
hand cramped up so badly trying to hit that thing
Yeah.
constantly. And I said to one of them, I was like, yeah, my hand's getting really sore. And he goes, oh yeah, you get used to that. Apparently it's just a thing that you put up with.
You power through until you have like full blown arthritis in your thumbs, and then your thumbs are permanently in that position, so you don't have to worry about them cramping up because they can't go anywhere else anyway.
The calluses form. Is that the only video game you play? Have you got any others that you've sort of done over the years?
I'm a big Breath of the Wild and now Tears of the Kingdom girly. I don't know if have you played them?
Not those ones. I played a lot of Zelda as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, I never played Zelda as a kid, so like, and I think Breath of the Wild was like the first big like kind of open world game that I played because like
they were fairly different as Zelda games go. They sort of took that Minecraft, like we're going to give you the whole world and let you make stuff.
Yeah. So I think it is. So when I've tried to play it, I feel like it's kind of ruined the old Zelda games because I've tried to go back and play them. But because I've got that thing on the Switch where you can do like you can play the old games, and it's just I'm like this, but then I'm like this blows because it's not nostalgic for me. It's like I've just gone back to play a really kind of compared to games now, like with like bad graphics, and I'm confused. So I played a lot of Pokemon Yellow.
Nice.
I'd play like Age of Mythology and on the computer.
Yeah, that was a great game.
I love that game, and I play The Sims.
Did you just used to do the cheat on Age of Mythology where you type in Wrath of the Gods and it just gives you like unlimited meteors and everything? And
all the time.
I would always try to play legit until it became clear that I was losing, and then I would go, screw it, and then I would just fly. You could get a little horse, I think it was Pegasus, because you needed range. Pegasus. So I'd fly Pegasus over their village and then just start dropping meteors on their village.
And then you're just like, eat shit, bitch. Just kill it. Just smashing them. Yeah, I would always be like, no, I'm not using cheats. I'm just going to play. And then like, you're just like bored because it's not going as fast as you want. And you're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I do that in The Sims too when I'm like running out of money.
That's right. There are heaps of cheats in The Sims, aren't there? What are you? What kind of Sims player are you? Do you create yourself, or do you make like other characters and then sort of run their stories?
Yeah, I'm more of I would say I like more the story based. Like, I don't care about making a house. Like I don't have a good eye for design. It's weird because I'm like obviously a creative person, but I'm not very visually creative. Like, I can like color coordinate my outfits and stuff. Like I like to do that, but I'm shit at like any sort of kind of interior design. So,
you've got vision good enough to see the difference between pink shades. So that's
basically that's kind of it. Yeah. Do
you know what I was thinking?
I'm very triggered if it's not pink enough. But.
Do you know when you take your car to the panel beater and they can match the color with that gun thing?
Oh,
your eyesight is kind of like that.
Oh my god, I should get one of that for the nail salon for like my to match my dress to my like it's not right. Do it again. That's really funny. So I just want to play the characters. I just want my character to fuck as quickly as possible. That's all. Every time I go on, I'm like, who's my girlfriend? We're gonna woohoo for 10 years, get a boy over to my house. Like that's what I'm doing.
I think that's that's a very common path for The Sims. I remember we I don't know if you ever saw it, but a bunch of us used to make this like fake, it was like The Onion, it was satire news, it was called The Lamington. And the one that I suggested was something like how did the headline go? It was like, quiet, reserved woman lives vicariously through her insatiable sim character or something along those lines.
That's really funny. That's true. And I'm not even quiet, reserved.
There you go.
I'm just like, my sim needs to be a slut. I love it. I've got the vampire expansion pack. So you can do you can live out your like best Twilight fantasies too.
Exactly. I wonder when they're going to add the fairies one that can't be far away.
Yeah, they should.
So I think, are we up to your last tiny joy now?
I think we are. My last one is just singing in the car. I just love singing, and I feel like singing in the car. I feel like I'm in the recording studio. I'm just going hard, like because I'm weirdly kind of shy about my singing, even though I did sing in that in my last life's clip, but that was honestly, that was the thing I was the most nervous about because I don't like sing in front of crowds or anything like that. And I feel like I've got a bit more confident in it just because of like lockdowns and stuff. I just kind of lost my mind, so I stopped caring if people heard me sing. So I'm a big like shower singer and car singer, but I just love like I don't mind going on like a big drive by myself because I'll just put on like one of my favorite albums, like The Killer's first album, and just sing my little heart out the whole time. And you can just go, because it doesn't matter if you're like, if you're kind of bad or you're not quite hitting the notes, like who cares, because there's no one else there to hear it.
That's a big thing in comedy culture is the long drive. What are some of your, like, let's say you've got to drive, I'm not quite sure, well, you know the South Island, so let's say you're driving from Christchurch to Dunedin and you've got like a good sort of, it's about 5 hours, I think. Do you go into it with a plan? Like, I download podcasts, the night before, and I kind of get everything ready. Do you have a road trip plan, or do you kind of just make it up as you go?
I'm not very good at planning in advance. I will. My favorite kind of podcast is probably Conan O'Brien's podcast.
Oh, that's great.
So I'll go through and see if he's got episodes with like my favorite comedians. Because I only really listen to podcasts if like, my faves are on. I also really love How Did This Get Made? I don't know if you know that one about.
I have heard of it. Is it screenwriting
it's
and stuff?
so funny. No, it's like they watch a real kind of shit movie and then they'll just like tear it apart, and it's and they do live ones too, and they also do movies that are like kind of, I guess, maybe terrible but just like fun movies. So they did like what did they do? These ones were ages ago, but these are my favorite episodes. They did Face Off with John Travolta and Nick Cage, and they did and Con Air. That one's so fun. So like the Nick Cage ones are really fun. They also do all the Fast and Furious ones.
Nice.
I like obviously I like Worst Idea of All Time, but then it's like they're my friends, so I'm like, I don't want to just listen to my friends talk.
You're just hanging with your friends.
Behind my back. I want to be able to join in on the conversation. So I did one episode, so I listened to that. So
just the episode with you on it.
Yeah, just on them.
Very nice. I was going to say, the one, How Did This Get Made? Is it like are they watching the movie at the time, or is it a post? They watch it and then they discuss. Oh, yeah.
They watch it and they discuss, but it's Paul Scheer, June Diane Raphael, and Jason Mantzoukas, who's like one of my favorite comedians. He's just so funny. I guess he's more he doesn't really do stand up, but he's like an improviser and actor and stuff. Cool. But yeah, I love they're all really funny, and so I love that one. And June's really funny because she's like very sincere, but will ask like an insane question, but like very seriously, which I find very funny. And she's married to Paul Scheer, which I think is so sweet. I like their dynamic. But so I'll listen to podcasts. I might listen to a couple, like if it's like because I drove to Wellington for Comedy Fest, just because I was staying not in the CBD, so I just thought it'd be easier to have my car. So I was like, I might as well drive like 8 hours or whatever. And then I will get bored of singing after a while and have to listen to a podcast for a bit to take a break between concerts.
Do you have, because one thing, like, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm sort of like I do this full time. Like I do a lot of quizzes and comedy and stuff. I'm always so paranoid about losing my voice. So I'm very like, I've got my little routines about keeping my voice. Like, do you find that you tend to lose your voice if you sing before a gig, or have you got powerful
I think I've got my vocal cords will just overcome. I'm just built, sorry babe, I'm built different. I'm too strong. I think I talk so much, I'm so loud, and I sing a lot, so I think it takes kind of a lot for me to lose my voice. I always do sound kind of croaky when I wake up in the morning, but I got a bit of vocal fry going, but that's all right. Well,
that's in at the moment, so it's not a bad thing.
I feel like it's kind of always in, so I'm okay. I don't think if I've ever like fully lost my voice, it's because I've been like kind of too sick to be on stage anyway. So it's like either way, I'm not performing, but I never will just like kind of lose it out of the blue. I know because I stayed for a bit in Melbourne with like Laura Daniel, and Joseph Moore and David Krayas, and obviously Laura and Joseph are Two Hearts, which I don't know if people listening know them, but they're like a truly amazing comedy pop duo, and they're also married, which is so cute. But Laura has like, because I stayed by myself most of the time, and then my Airbnb, like I had to leave. So so that sounds like I did something. No, I just didn't have, I couldn't book it for the last 2 days. So I was like, I crashed with them.
Yeah.
And Laura she's doing vocal warm-ups for like 2 hours.
Mhm.
She's like, she's doing like, like the steam mask thing.
Trilling.
Like I gave her like a neck massage at one point. Cause like, she's like, Joseph usually does it, but his thumbs are weak or something. I was like, okay. And I've got strong thumbs from
She
Mario
took a look
Kart,
at your
so
thumbs and was like, oh yeah,
she saw these like little crone hands and she's
I
like,
could put
get
you
in
to
here.
work.
Yeah. So, but she is also singing like beautifully, amazingly on stage for like an hour pretty much.
Yeah.
She has little breaks in between, but like, and doing a full month of like Melbourne or Edinburgh, like and then you go out straight after, and she had to go on like vocal rest. Like she had to just start going home straight after the show because she was fully losing her voice. And like I was kind of losing my voice, and I was only doing stand up for half an hour.
Yeah.
I only did 2 weeks of the festival, and but it was just because I was there for 2 weeks, and I only had one night where I got home before 2 a.m.
Wow.
You're just out every single night, and you're so drunk, and you're just screaming in the club, and it's just, yeah.
I've heard that because I remember Miley Cyrus was talking about having to get vocal surgery, and she had some kind of condition that was, I think it was essentially nodules on her vocal cords, and her doctor said,
to Adele too.
There you go. And the doctor said, not from singing, it's from when you finish the show and you're out, you're just yapping all night, and that's what does the damage. And so, it's, vocal rest is the one that's what I've been told is like, that's the best. Yeah. And so, I have to very strategically plan out when I do podcasts and quizzes and stuff. But I was just curious about this because I don't sing, but you seem like you've got strong.
I don't sing professionally, so
there you go.
But I do sing a lot to myself. I think it always helps though, like warm up your voice, especially if you've been, I don't know, if you've like just woken up and you haven't seen anyone yet, if you're like driving to an appointment or something even, and you're like, or going to work, and you can like sing in the car, and then then you don't sound so cooked when you first speak to someone for the day.
That's right.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so when I did my show Cubicle Confessions,
was
now
a
streaming
TV
on
show?
TV and Z on demand.
Yep,
It was. I don't know. It was at TV. We filmed it through TV and Z, but it's like it was more like I don't know if it's like a web series because it's on TV and Z Plus, but either way, it's great stuff. Yeah, it's a streaming thing. But I am so chatty that like we would film from like 1 p.m. till about, like I'd get in at like kind of early-ish to get my hair and makeup done, and then I would film from about 1 p.m. till about 6:30ish, 7ish, and we'd have a break in the middle because we'd film 4 guests a day, so that's like 2 episodes. I'd have 45 minutes for like the crew break, and the producers were like, Liv, you need to like, don't talk to anyone, you're going to burn yourself out because you need to be able to like banter and chat with the guests. And I was like, yeah. And then I'd just be talking to the makeup ladies and the next guest who was waiting, and they'd be like, no. And they took me away and put me in like a dark room by myself, and they're like, don't talk to anyone, like you just need to have a snack, chill out by yourself. And I'm like, fine. And then like this guy came in, he's like, that was a really good episode, Liv. And I was like, thank you so much. What's your name? What do you do on the show? How long have you been working? And they're like, do not talk to her. But I'm like the reverse of those celebrities where they're like, don't make eye contact with them because they'll like go off at you. It's more like, don't make eye contact because she'll try to be your friend. Like, and she needs some peace and quiet time. And like,
her in Pokemon, if you walk past a trainer and they catch their gaze, then you have to battle. So you're kind of like that. Yeah, if you catch your gaze, literally, you've got to have a chat.
Then I'm like, tell me everything. What's your star sign? Where'd you grow up? What school did you go to? Like, and they're like, no. The producer's like, I was like, can I go to the bathroom? They're like, fine. And then I took like 20 minutes to come back. They're like, what happened? I was like, I got lost, and then I made a friend. She's a journalist. I said she could be on the show. They're like, no, you don't get to choose that. I'm like, come on, she's my friend.
That sounds like another TV show. Is just Liv's side quests, like while you're trying to do TV
Liv's
shows.
Side quests. That's really funny.
Have you ever thought of we don't really have late night talk in New Zealand, like talk shows like Conan Roll, but is that something you'd like to do if the opportunity ever came up? Do you think you'd make a sort of good chat show host?
I would love that. I think I would be an incredible chat show host. One, because I already kind of did a chat show and I was incredible at it. And I'm not even pretending to be humble. I love talk shows. Like I've been to Jimmy Fallon's show like 5 times or 4 times. I've been to Colbert a couple times. I've been to The Daily Show twice when it was Jon Stewart, once with Trevor Noah. I've been to what's his name? Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm just fully blanking. The British guy. No, I never saw Letterman, unfortunately. John Oliver. Yeah. Saw John Oliver. No, I haven't seen James Corden. I never saw any of the ones in LA except Rove LA, because growing up, Rove was like my Justin Bieber or my Harry Styles. Like, he was my childhood love of my life.
Yeah.
And I really like, I don't know, I just like talking to people. It's funny because, like, if I do like 7 days or have you been paying attention, I'm like really nervous before, and I'm like, and I don't want to like, because it's hard. I think I am just so chatty that I get overexcited and I will talk over people, and I hate doing it. I feel bad, but I'm just so excited. And so, but when I was hosting the show, I wasn't nervous because I was like, I'm the host. Like, these people are coming into like my house. Like, I have to show them a good time. I have to turn it on for them so they have a fun time. We have a good time together, and it was like it's a really different dynamic. Yeah. So I really loved doing that. I think it was really good. It was really good, like, skill set, like, to be able to be like, and we'd be filming the intros, and the producers would be like, okay, Liv, like, you are low energy, you need to like turn it on. And I'd be like, okay. And then I'd just like get into the zone and then be like bubbly and, really like putting it on. So it was, I think, a really good learning experience. But yeah, I would love to be like the Graham Norton of New Zealand, just like drunk on a couch, like antagonizing American famous people.
Well, TVNZ execs that I'm sure tune into this podcast every week.
I know, they do.
Liv McKenzie for the first ever late night host in New Zealand. We're going to make it happen. So that's your kind of list of tiny joys. I guess, that's basically the interview. So thank you for joining me. You've got a bigger following than me, but for the listeners, where can they find you on social media if they want more of you in their life?
Oh yeah, I feel like I mostly post on Instagram. Like, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, but I post like once a year. My Instagram is just like Liv McKenzie comedian. I'm barely posting on there now that Comedy Fest is done, and I don't have to be like, come to my show, please. So that's, I don't know, come see me, come to a show if you live in Auckland. I actually, I'm from Christchurch obviously, but I don't do a ton of shows there because I think when I'm down, I just want to hang out with my family and my friends, so I'm like, Snap is always like, do you want to do this show? And I'm like, no, thank you so much. I'm tired and I want to hang out with my little niece and nephew. Sorry, that's a very long answer. All my answers have been very long answers, but yeah,
that's fine.
Liv McKenzie comedian on Instagram, and that's kind of it. I don't know. Yeah, I have I post clips on like from like galas and stuff on YouTube, which again I think is just like Liv McKenzie comedian. And my show Cubicle Confessions is on TVNZ, and you can't even search Liv McKenzie. You have to search Cubicle Confessions, which is so stupid because sometimes I forget the name of the show, but I remember my name most of the time. So but yeah, that's a really fun show, especially to just kind of have on in the background. You don't have to pay a lot of attention. It's just me kind of like gossiping with my guests, which is so fun.
Fantastic. All right. Well, yeah, I'll chuck all those links that I can find in the show notes for people to check out. But thank you so much for joining me, Liv. Appreciate you giving
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, no worries. Anytime. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to Ruddle Me This. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform. You can find me on social media at Taylor Ruddle Comedy on all the major platforms. You can also join patreon.com/Taylor Ruddle Comedy for free, which gets you access to all sorts of extras and behind the scenes content, as well as allows you to communicate directly with me and let me know what you think of the show. Tune in again next Monday for another episode of Ruddle Me This, and until then, Ruddle her out.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.